So here we have two tuners. What are they called?
AM/FM stereo receivers. Stereo receivers.
We got two stereo receivers from probably what, the 70s?
Probably 70s and early 80s.
But they've, my dad bought these when he was in high school.
This was my dad's.
That was Grandpa's?
Yeah, that was his stereo.
And then what, you paid what, 50 bucks for that?
It's probably 75 bucks.
Well, these are actually really rare and worth thousands of dollars.
This one is. This
Yeah,
is
the
probably
bottom
worth
one.
150.
So we're gonna go through, we're gonna test this out and see if everything works on it.
Okay, you can see it's powered on, and then I've got it already tuned. It's on FM, and you can see the tuning right there. So you can see that that's the closest without an antenna. That's the closest I'm gonna get on a radio station. Now let's just see how if any of these speakers work.
Everywhere in Southern Idaho. Paul Subaru on Falls Avenue on hardware info.
One.
Valley's Hot 100 FM. 100 FM.
Those all work. Listen to the volume though. Hear the cracking when I move the volume.
So what is that? Just needs cleaned?
That knob. Yeah, that rheostat or whatever they could call it. On that knob is probably needs cleaned. Treble. So the only other thing we need to test now is these to make sure we can hook up something else in there. Make sure those are working.
Can you just test if power's going into it? Or coming out, I mean?
Well, we need some kind of tape deck or something we can put into each of these. And okay, I've got everything. If you can see, I've got everything turned on. We're on FM, and here's my signal. You can see how I lose signal. So without an antenna, we're not going to get any stronger signal than that, but it's enough to get us.
How do you know when you have
sound.
signal?
Well, this is your, we're on FM. This is your FM signal meter right here. Can you see when it moves to 0?
Oh.
And then I'm off stereo.
So you're twisting this.
The tuning knob.
You're changing the station here.
Yeah.
And the signal just tells you if that's a station or not?
Yeah, well, it gives you, if we had an antenna hooked up, you would get a pretty strong signal.
Oh, that just tells you the strength of it.
Strength of the signal, so you know exactly where you're tuning. I mean, they don't really have this kind of stuff anymore because everything's digital, but this is probably more recognizable speaker hookups.
So the one on top's older.
Way older, yeah.
Because you would screw them down, is that what it was?
You just put them in there. You put them actually, if you look at this, I mean, you can put connectors on there, but if you look at this, see how there's two, those two, so you'd slide it in like that and then take a screwdriver,
Lock it down.
tighten it up, and those two little nubs on there won't allow it to
Come out.
lift up. It keeps it down below the screw.
See, these are the ones that I used.
Yeah, most people back in the 80s, 90s, this is what you would use.
This is the clamp, right?
Yeah,
This clamp.
the clamp. But same with this speaker, old school. This is probably from the early 90s.
Yeah, that grinding. What's that grinding? Trying to get a signal?
You can hear it.
Is it screwed in? It's got a screw on the side. So the volume knob.
So next step, we need to check the phases. So each set of speakers has a fuse in there. They could be blown, and then definitely there's issues with controlling them. That's the next step. We'll pull this apart.
Okay, I'm going to take this stereo receiver apart so we can clean all the switches and knobs and check the capacitors. So first thing, we've got to pull all these off. And just pull off. Knobs just pull off. So what you have to do is take out these bottom screws. And as you can see, this whole back piece slides out. These are just Phillips heads. Okay, we're going to take off this wood piece. There's just 6 Phillips head screws. There it is. You see we have access to everything on the inside. Okay, I'm just looking through this tuner and looking at some of the capacitors, and some of these look like they might be leaking, but what this is a glue that they put on. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on this. You can see it real good on these two. Right in here, attached to the board. They're soldered in, but they keep these from moving. It's a really hard substance that it's glue, so these are not leaking capacitors. ESR meter. So in theory you can test these capacitors while they're still in the board. If you wanted to test them perfect, you'd have to unsolder them from the board, but this tuner works good. So we'll probably just clean it all up, test the capacitors. If there's any way out, then we'll replace those. And then we're going to go ahead and, if you can see these, here's all the knobs down in here. Some contact cleaner. There. Here, and then here's the push buttons, and they're just little sliders. It selects the radio right here. This is it. You can see it sliding back and forth. Here's the little slider. It's just on a string and pulleys. See that? You can see the string is moving this dial. The little indicator comes all the way back here to this mechanism. A lot of these old ones, this is how they work, was on a string. And the string still looks really good. I don't see any frayed spots. It'd be amazing if these would last this long. I'm going to take this front cover off so I can get better access to these. There's 2 screws on the top. You can see one here. They're just Phillips heads. I want to see if there's any backlighting. 3rd screw here on the bottom. A couple of the shims. Okay, it looks like there's only 2 lights. You can see right here. Like fuses, so it lights up this little piece, and this one lights up this from the side. Okay, I've got this turned on, plugged in and turned on. If you look, here's the back light turned on. You see the light lights up. That's what gives light to this, and here's the other one right here, and it's not working. So they look like fuses, but these are bulbs. Used to use these in the dome lights of old cars too. Okay, there's another way you can test these bulbs. I just got a meter set on ohms. You can see when you touch them together, it almost zeroes out. Just touch each side, and nothing. So you can tell this is bad, just like a fuse. It's working exactly like a fuse. Okay, I got this set on AC volts. I just want to test this, make sure we're getting power to where this light bulb goes. As you can see, I'm getting 11 volts. So this little bulb, I think it's showing 12 volts and 0.15 amps. Okay, I'm going to remove this cover from this tuner, and we're going to take a look inside. If you can see here, we've got 3 Phillips head, here, 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 and 3 on the other side. Now it looks like there's 3 Phillips head here, here, and here. The cover just lifts off. This thing's been sitting for a while. Got all these spider webs. And you can see how dirty it is inside. Lots of components, huge capacitors, and you can see all the fuses. We powered this on and it works. Everything comes on. We just get very low volume coming out, so I figured we'd take it apart, check the fuses, clean it all up first, and see if we can figure out why we're not getting good volume, which it could have been the volume knob itself. So you can see those are down at the bottom. This is the volume knob there. See another main fuse right there. Okay, we're going to take off this bottom plate so we can get to this volume knob and see if that's the issue. So as you can see, it's just a plate and there's screws all the way around it. And I don't think these feet, I think the feet are just attached to the plate. You can see the feet are just attached to the metal plate. Okay, here's a look at the bottom. Right here is our volume knob. So we're going to have to take this. I'm going to take this one off. So probably the next step is to get the front plate off, which means all these knobs and switches are going to have to come off. You just pull off. All these knobs are exactly the same. I'll keep those in order. Oh, I took them off the board. So now we just need to remove these. We've got a little Allen set screw in there, and those should pull off. And then you've got a screw here and a screw on this other side, Phillips heads, that we need to take off, and then there's some screws on the top side that we'll have to take off, and then that front plate will come off. Okay, these are 2mm Allen wrench. Just loosen them and pull that off. And you can tell the difference of those because the volume one has a little notch. This one has nothing. That's the tuner. Okay, there's 2 screws in here on each of these. This stopper for the volume. You can see you can move it and set it. What that does is it stops your volume knob from freewheeling all the way up to overload or to 100. So we're going to take that off, and there's a nut right there, and there'll be 2 screws under here that are attaching the faceplate. Okay, this nut is a 7/16. There's 4 screws, and I think just these 2 are holding the faceplate on, so we'll take those 2 off. Okay, that bottom's loose. Flip it over. Okay, you can see how this come off. There's just something had been spilled, it looks like, on here. Kind of glued this faceplate to it, so we're able to get the faceplate off. You want to be real careful with this. We need to shine this up real good. Okay, now we're gonna need to flip this back over. Okay, in order for us to get this board off, we're going to have to take these bolts off, or these nuts off, on those 4. That's pretty much what's holding it on to this faceplate. It's just those nuts. So these are going to be 7/16 also. Looks like we're going to have to loosen this volume knob too. There we go. And we're out. Okay, now we have full access to these first knobs, the volume knob. And what we're going to have to do is get some contact cleaner. You can see these holes. There's holes that we can spray it down in different spots. And then we just work it back and forth. Try to get that nice and clean. Same with all these. We'll do the exact same thing with contact cleaner, and then we're going to try it and see if that, plug it in and see if that fixed the volume issue. This is just a Berryman electronic cleaner. Thoroughly cleans sensitive electronic equipment. Stuff dries fast. You may be having trouble with that whole volume now.
That one.
This station right here, couple hours.
Yeah, it tells you down there. Swapping that red light.
We're going to see any other problems that I can tell, except for this knob. So I think what we do is we go through and clean all of them with the contact cleaner, and we make sure that this one's especially clean, even if we have to somewhat take that apart. You ready?
Yeah.
think there's a little bit of glue that's holding that switch on. I don't think we could have got it without taking this off. See all the different, here, this is a good view of how this works. If you look in here, okay, if you see these little black right here, those little black rings, as you twist the knob, it's got a little selector. You can see him right down here. See right there? And that's what's touching these contacts, and that's what's selecting what you're doing. And this is the same way. See if we can see it. Yeah, you can see it. So when those get crusty and dirty, that's when you get the noise. It doesn't work very well.
Should we just go ahead and clean the rest of these switches?
Yeah. Okay, I've got this somewhat cleaned and back together. Everything's working great. All the switches work, all the knobs work. This is the one we were having trouble with. Works perfect now. Volume. Volume is real clean, no crackling.
We have a little focus on Selena Gomez and what she's been doing at Rick.
Everything's working great.